Hey, look, I messed with things again. All the cards are different, and I've got our players in my hand here. Once more, hypothetical situation. Let's say Mr. Quarter is here on the 10 of spades, tails side up, and Mr. Penny is here on the 9 of spades, heads side up. I'm just going to play a few rounds here and show you a little bit of how the end game works. Essentially, at some point during the game, the draw pile will run out of cards. When this happens, the game continues as per normal, but cards are not replenished anymore. So let's say it is Quarter's turn. Quarter is going to slide and grab this here 7 of clubs. There are no more cards in the draw pile, so this space remains empty. Now, Penny's turn. Penny's going to flip over to the tails side. Quarter's turn. Quarter is going to refrain from screwing over Penny this time. I guess he feels Penny needs a break, and is instead going to take this here 8 of clubs. Well, Penny may seem to have this 6 of hearts as his best choice, but in actuality, this 10 of diamonds is a much better choice. Once there is a gap within the board itself, sliding no longer affects anything beyond that gap. So if our red player here is to slide vertically, it will only be these two connected cards that are affected, and this 10 of diamonds will be the one that is taken by the red player and added to his score pile. Essentially, this means that the game is going to suddenly get smaller and smaller and smaller, and how will it end? Well, let's magically go for another sudden change in the dynamics of this game board. Pretty good magic, isn't it? Well, as you can see, our quarter is now here, tails side up. Our penny is now here, tails side up. Penny's turn. Penny is going to slide and take this jack. Quarter is going to slide and take this 10 of spades, and now the game is over. The reason why? It is Penny's turn, and Penny is unable to move or slide. I mean, sure, I guess Penny here could flip every single turn until Quarter runs out of options, but rather than that, the rule that I've come up with is if ever there is a situation in which a player is trapped with no cards on the up, down, left, or right side of them, then the game ends when that player's turn begins. So, as soon as Penny's turn started with nowhere to go, the game ended, and scores are tallied, and a winner is chosen. There is another possibility, there's another way in which the game could end, and once again, I'm going to use my mess things up magic and show you. So here goes. Alright, so now we've got Quarter here, tail side up, Penny here, tail side up. Quarter is going to be a vindictive SOB once more and slide Penny off the board. Now, normally, if Penny is slid off the board, Penny would go right here, since that's Penny's starting location. There is no card there. There is no location for Penny to go to. So the game immediately ends. If ever a player is pushed off the board and is forced onto a space that doesn't exist, well, that's game over. And it's time to tally your score. So tallying your score at the end of the game is probably the most annoying part. You spent the entire game collecting cards, and now you have to add and subtract until you get a final score. And, I mean, that's a lot of math, that's a lot of annoyance, and will probably be a pretty time-consuming measure, which is why I like to group the cards together. I mean, 5 and 5 is 10, 6 and 4 is 10, 7 and 3 is 10, 8 and 2 is 10, obviously 10 is 10, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Jack is also worth 10, so that's 60. King is worth 12, but let's say you got a 2 of the opposing color, now that's 10. So 70, Queen is worth 11. 9 is, 9 plus 11 is 20, so now you're at 90. King is worth 12, 8, and that's, again, 20. Now you're at 110. And then there are the aces. Aces are a little bit unique, and I didn't actually mention this during the rest of the video, but if you collect an ace in the game, it doesn't matter what color it is. It still is positive points for you. So even if you're playing the black player, red aces are fine. If you're playing the red player, black aces are fine. There's absolutely no problem with it. And in fact, the more aces you have, the higher the value of each one will be. If you finish the game with only a single ace, that single ace is worth 2 points. If you finish the game with 2, each one is worth 4 points, so 8 points in total. If you finish the game with 3, each one is worth 6 points, so 18 points in total. And if you finish the game with all 4, each one is worth 8 points, so that's 32 points in total. So, I mean, the more aces you collect during the game, the better, and, just one may not mean much, but if you get more than one, you can eventually, they can add up. So, you want to keep your opponents from collecting aces, and you want to try to collect them as best as you can. So, final matter here, and I'm going to let you see my face again for this one, is the 4-player game. If you have 4 players, each player is striving to collect a specific suit rather than a specific color. So, let's say you have a penny, a nickel, a dime, and a quarter, and let's say the penny is clubs and the quarter is spades. Well, if the penny takes the jack of clubs, that is worth 10 points. If the penny takes the king of spades, that's actually worth 1 point. So, how it basically works is, if you take a card of your color, but not your suit, it is worth 1 point, period. Doesn't matter what the number on the card is, it's worth 1 point. If you take a card that is both your color and your suit, then it is worth the face value. And if you take a card of the opposing team's color, well, that's worth negative points. What this does is it sort of pits 2 players against one another, and then the other 2 players against one another. So if you want to totally screw over your opponent as he's about to take a king of spades, and you're the club player, you can take that king of spades, and you only get 1 point for it, but it's not a negative, so you can just go in there and have some fun and make yourself some enemies. So that's pretty much how the 4-player game works. It's the only real difference between the 2 rule sets. Obviously the same occurs with hearts and diamonds as with spades and clubs. So give it a try sometime. I haven't yet played the 4-player version, but I plan on it. And I hope that you end up really enjoying Slack. I had a lot of fun making this video. It's probably a little bit long and a little bit overly verbose, but it is my first webcam video, so please forgive me. And let me know in the comments what you think. If you've played Slack and how it went, whether or not it was fun, whether or not you've thought of any revisions for these rules that you think would make the game more fun. I'd love to hear it, and I look forward to your comments. See ya!